Accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we accept the agenda, approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same privilege. The ayes have it. Moving on to item number 3, public comments. Just a reminder, we didn't have any public comments. Just a reminder that please encourage others to follow the process that's posted on the website. We want to hear from you. We wanted to make sure we were intentional about having a section in our agenda that invites public comments. So please encourage others to provide the public comments. We have a protocol. We want to hear from you, and there will be many, many more opportunities to have hear from you. But we wanted to make sure that please take advantage of this opportunity. We want to hear from you. Moving on to item number 4, public recognition. I'll yield the floor to Mr. Tron.
Evening, board members, Superintendent Trickler.
Good evening.
We've got 2 recognitions this evening. One is the athletic side, and the other one is technology. So we're going to recognize 8 Normandy football players who earned all conference honors. So we'd like to congratulate them. Before we call them up and Coach Baker up to introduce them and talk a little bit more about this honor, we do have a video that we'd like to show real quick that was put together by the communications team.
My name is Kyrie Green. I graduated in 2025 and Norman, class of 2024.
My name is Robert Kidd, graduated in 2025 at Birmingham High School.
My name is Anton Ward, and I usually here at the Birmingham High School.
My name is Eric Perry. I was there in 2005. I've been playing football since I was 6. I've been playing football since the age of 6. I've been playing football since I was 7 years old. I love football because I feel as if it saved my life at the club.
I love football because of the brotherly league.
I love football because when I'm playing, like all my problems, they go away. I really just have fun with my teammates.
I love football because from an early age, my teammates, they made me feel welcome on the field.
It really taught me about teamwork and partnership.
I play middle linebacker.
I play wide receiver, defensive back, and outside linebacker.
Actually, this season that just happened now, I switched to quarterback.
I play left tackle in the end.
I play middle linebacker, and I play tight end.
I played center.
After high school, I plan to continue my studies at the University of Missouri, Mizzou, go Tigers, and major in computer engineering.
My plan is to go to college and major in landscape architecture.
After high school, I would like to go to college at the University of Missouri. Study sports medicine.
I'll see you behind you.
I say you dedicated.
That we always say.
Hard work.
Each year we achieve something different than we did do the previous year.
I want to be a player that not only just shows his love off the field, I want to show it on the field.
So this time we'd like to welcome Coach Baker.
Hello everyone, thanks for having us here today. Good evening. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to you all, and then another congratulations to these young men back here. Just off of the hard work that they did put in this year. We had a few ups and downs, but like the video said, I think the lady said that every year we have accomplished something different. last year, we actually got to host the very first district playoff game at the school. This year, we hosted it again, and we won. We finally made it to the second round of the playoffs this year. We came up short, but next year, we plan on making it to the second round, winning that game, and going to the district title. I'm not saying we're gonna lose it. I plan on winning the district championship next year, bring the second district championship to the school. All right, let's get right into it. Let's see. This first award goes to Anton Brum. He's not here right now, but Anton is a strong young man. Football did save his life. He came from a situation to where he had to transfer over from Riverview. He was in a lot of trouble. We got him over here at Normandy, kind of straightened him up, and he has been a different young man because he came to Normandy, and football did save that young man's life. This next award goes to Makai Green. Makai Green was a second team all-conference athlete. And the reason why he was all-conference athlete is mainly because he started off playing DN. He played running back, put him in on the line sometimes, and then he found his way to quarterback. Sitting in an all-conference meeting, they recognized that, and they was like, well, a lot of my success towards the end of the season came from that young man, and when they did the voting, they couldn't find a particular position for him, so they gave him all-conference as an athlete. Aiden Norman. Aiden is one of those guys that kind of manages the team. Outside of playing, he loves to manage the team. We do a thing on Wednesdays now where it's done by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and the young men come on in, we sit in the classroom, we fellowship, we get into a lot of different things as far as being a student athlete and being a Christian at the same time. He leads that meeting every other Wednesday. So what happened with Aiden was they gave out the Best Sportsmanship Award. A lot of coaches know Aiden just off of the things that he does on the field. He's never had an incident to where it was disrespectful. He's always respected to those other coaches and things of that nature, and they recognized that. So when they did the voting, they was like, out of all the kids in our conference, the kid that shows the most sportsmanship, they said it was Aiden Norman. So Tayshawn Thompson. Tayshawn Thompson got first team all conference linebacker. He's not here today, he's at a baseball game. But Tayshawn is a young man that has a bright future ahead of him. Thinking, he said he wants to go to college. I don't know what college he's looking at, but Missouri Valley has got in contact with me about Tayshawn and Missouri Western. Those are the two schools that recognize Tayshawn. And this award goes to Tayshawn Thompson for first team all conference. David Woods is not here today, but David Woods is another young, hard-working young man. It took him a minute to get where he needed to be, but he ended up making second team all conference, defensive back. He was another young man we moved around a lot because we had to plug people in a lot of different places, but he stepped up, he made the call, and he got recognized for all conference at defensive back. This young man, Marlon James, me and him had a conversation at the end of last season. I told him, I said, how would you feel if we put the whole team on your shoulders this year? He looked at me, and in the way he talked, he was like, well, coach, man, you know, I guess I can go ahead. That's what I'm good with. I'm going to go ahead and take him on my back. So, Marlon James, as soon as his name popped up, everybody already knew who he was, and they was just like, you know, we have over 100 kids inside our conference, maybe even more, that was even recognized for things. Marlo James had received first team all conference at running back, and then he had received
Marlo
And he received Offensive Player of the Year. So Marlo James is the best offensive player in our conference. He finished the season Robert Kelly received Offensive Lineman of the Year, First Team All-Conference, O-Line, First Team All-Conference defensive end. Robert Kelly is a hard-working young man. He has a bright future ahead of him, and I can't wait to see what it brings for him. Give it up for Robert Kelly. This last award will be presented to Urban Perryman. Urban Perryman came a long way from a freshman. Believe it or not, he was a little short, fat, stubby kid at one point in time. Wrestling kind of filled him out. We moved him from the offensive line from his freshman year. He moved over to linebacker. We used him as a little fullback. But Urban Perryman was the leader of our defense, and he received First Team All-Conference linebacker. Again, can you all stand up?
Well, congratulations, and Mr. Baker, thank you for your leadership. While we assemble them, so we can get the photo op. Any comments from the board? All right, these young men? Ms. Belton, please go at you. Ms. Pearson? Ms. Belton?
I am absolutely so proud of y'all. I've been coming to a lot of games this year, and to see the progress and all of the hard work that you guys put into it, I am so proud.
We could get the board members just so that I can take a quick.
Sure. All right, we'll continue our comments. Let me see. Hold on, let's try it. Phil.
Look at this, you all. Here's this, good work.
Again, congratulations, and we are so proud of you and how you young men have represented us on the football field. You guys are very inspiring, how you motivate yourself and push yourself through and overcome adversity on the field, so we really appreciate that, and your character as well. Mr. Trump.
We've got one other recognition for this evening. We'd like to recognize Washington Elementary for receiving a $30,000 technology grant from the Innovative Technology Education Fund. The school will use the funds to purchase supplies and attend technical training opportunities to increase instruction and learning in their schools. And at this time, we'd like to welcome Dr. Pamela Hollins, who's the principal at Washington, who will come up and give us more information about the grant.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for the acknowledgement. The leader in obtaining this grant is our first grade teacher, Ms. Segrist, who is out sick today. But I would like to acknowledge Ms. Segrist for a couple of reasons. One, for obtaining the grant for us, but it is also noteworthy that Ms. Segrist has been with us for 1 month. And she is a true educator. She came to Washington, boots on the ground, and immediately started seeking resources for our school. So thank you to Ms. Segrist in obtaining this grant for us. The first line of business is to obtain laptops for all of our teachers, and we will begin to explore some technology conferences as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hollins. Is that it, Mr. Trump? All right, moving on to item number 5, items for information, 5.01, Prop V update. Mr. Jossie Haynes from KAI.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Triplett. Good evening, Ron, President, and good evening to the school and all the families and parents in the back.
Good evening.
My name is Jossie Haynes. I am with KAI, the construction manager. I'm the vice president of construction for our group. Our West Hall is complete. The SCA is complete. I love saying that because these jobs were an ordeal. So East Hall is complete, and soon to be complete will be Central Hall. Completion date is standing for 5/31/24, and the bus lot is to be determined. Secure connector. I love seeing this picture every time we walk it. Walking with the principals, the ideas that come out of the way this space can be used. It's a beautiful entrance to the facility. We are not calling it the secure connector, we're calling it the connector. Because it connects you to all of the facilities, so it's awesome. The punch list is underway, it's going. The first time I presented, it was about 450 items, we're down to 50. That's a big progress. Normandy personnel has been trained on the mechanical and electrical systems, which is the on-service that the contractors have provided to the schools so that they are aware of what's going on. All right, so East Hall, interior improvements on construction progress. All classrooms and furniture in place on all floors. The auditorium and locker room completion has been done. It's going to be done in this month, in December. Here's a picture of the auditorium. We actually walked this the other day, and I'll just put this plug. I want to invite anyone who is able to come out to the facility to see it for yourself. Looking at it on pictures, it doesn't do it justice. You can't see the walls that were recently refinished. The chairs, this room is a sight to be seen if you knew where it was coming from. Here's the library. It's the East Hall Library, construction progress. Everything has been set in place. It's almost ready to be used. All we need are the books. This is the construction progress update for the locker room. You can see the painting is going on and it's moving right along. The construction that's being done over at Central, if you remember looking at pictures before, you can start seeing it start taking shape, which is a good thing to see because that's what you want to see as this progress is continuing. Chill water lines are in place, 90% complete. The fan call units, FCU, are in place on all floors except for the band room. All 3 floor bathroom plumbing is underway. The new classroom spaces on all floors are framed out and except for the band room. Construction progress for the continuation of the Central Hall. You see that we have a young man working on that ladder. He's working on the electrical team with up companies. These are just some other pictures that you can see some more progress. Here's the restrooms, the bathrooms that have been completed. And here we're going to talk about the funds. Same project allocated funds, of course, property at the top, and then the other areas where funding is being managed by the school. Cost of change orders. So this is our running tally as I go through every time we come talk about this, the original contract, approved changes. Been talking to the team about rephrasing the terminology here, but as we look at these changes, I think we've talked about it in the past. I know that these changes that have been coming have not changed the budget, but only the actual known unknowns. So there are a lot of known unknowns in this project, and we're trying to get through that. And we're at 40 million currently for the potential contract amount where it stands. There are some contingencies in there, but that's where we stand for the allocated funds. Projected utilization. So MBE firms, we have 12 million contracted. The goal was 25%. We are exceeding that. We're at 32.88% utilization on MBE minority business enterprises. These are all the listed minority enterprises that we're working with currently under the contract of the general contractor. Here are the woman business enterprises, the firms that are here. We have a 5% goal, we're about half that. And these are the names and the contractors who are subcontractors who are working under the general contractors that we have. Property savings log. We currently are at $1.6 million in savings. Additional work avoided by KAI input during the design reviews are over $400,000 in savings. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Haynes. Any questions? Ms. Pearson?
Hello, Mr. Haynes. How you doing?
Hello, Ms. Pearson.
My only question is, why isn't there an update for the band room?
Well, it's being worked on, so they're working on the areas that needs to be complete. That's just not ready to be complete yet. So it's happening.
Does we love our Normandy band?
Oh, the band's it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be when it's finished. I would love to walk you personally through the facility. We're there my team is there every day of the week. I'm there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and we have our OAC meetings. So anytime you're available, let me know.
Okay.
She will show up too.
I'm there, I'll go too.
Thank
Ms.
you, Mr.
Williams.
Haynes.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Williams.
I have a comment first now. Last time I saw your presentation, you had NCS, and I thought we corrected that.
We did correct. It's not corrected?
It still
I
says
apologize.
yes. Okay.
That's no reason.
The other thing is, I did walk through today the theater,
Correct.
and I thank Mr. Humphrey for bringing up those walls. They look beautiful. The space is just wonderful, it really is. Now, as soon as you all get that stage cleaned up, you'll be okay, right?
Yep.
That's already on the list.
That's all I
It's on the list.
have it on the list, Mr. The other question I have is about the library. There's a lot of shelving in there. I wanted to know how much technology hookup is there. I mean, that's all. I see a lot of TVs, but I saw plugs under the tables, under 8 tables, but just didn't impress me as a technology-laden place.
Yeah, so I know there are a number of Wi-Fi routers in the space, which is how the computers will be connected. The plugs that you see under the tables are for just power connections. That's not, there's no QI charging. There's only, you actually plug your laptop in. Once you're in there, you're able to connect via Wi-Fi throughout the facility. So that's connected. I don't believe in the televisions that they are also connected to the system. And any media that should be playing will be done once they're occupied. They haven't completely occupied the space, correct?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Humphrey, thank you, Ms. Williams.
Well, I would say thank you very much for the work that's being done. And I know specifically when you talk about the band room, one of the issues that happened with the band room was that initially there had been some design conversations with Dwayne Foster, and then when he subsequently left, there was also conversations with Suzanne Palmer around some of the placement, because they moved some of the rehearsal spaces, and there was a number of different things. There was a room, there was gonna be one thing, so it's kind of a design and build situation where they've had to modify some of the plans, and now that those plans are modified, you know, it was probably one of the last spaces to actually have modifications to the drawings, and that's the reason why it's probably one of the last spaces to actually see, you know, forward progress. But I think all of the plans are now currently laid out. I can't appreciate the work that's being done. We did have an opportunity to tour Central last week, and so we wanted to kind of go through to see what the progress was there. And just know that we, as we walk through and have conversations about the spaces, we look with an eye of excellence. Because when I look, if it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And so at that point, because of our babies, we got to get it right. And so they'll tell you from the meeting that I'm not afraid to challenge anything, and because at the end of the day, it's about delivering the best facility for our young people and our staff that we can get. And I think we're headed in that direction. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haynes, and I will be making an appointment with you. I have not had an opportunity to come over and see. From everything that I've seen from the videos, it's looking real good. So I will make an appointment and make sure I come over.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Mr. Hodge.
Thank you for the presentation. We're very excited about the progress. It was great to see the words complete in your presentation. I do want to give you an opportunity to expand a little bit on a comment that you made around the budget for this project. You said that you wanted to change our language from change orders to emphasize the fact that even with changes, it doesn't mean that we are changing the budget. Could you just explain that a little bit more so that we all understand?
Yeah, so Mr. Humphrey was, I want to call you doctor, but Mr. Humphrey, he acts like a doctor in the courtroom when a lawyer in the courtroom when he's at the meetings. When the project was initially conceived, it was made up to be a white box for a lot of the spaces. So we allocated costs to a design intent. So a white box is basically, from a visual standpoint, a space that's not completely designed. And once we get into that space, it's done by budget. That budget comes up as a change order because it's not scoped. So as we scope the project, like we're doing with the band room, then the cost starts to come a reality, and then we bring it to the team or to you as a change order. That's what I mean by budgeted or known unknowns. We knew that this was an unknown that was not identified during design. So now that we're in the space, we're designing as we build it, which is the way that it was decided to move as it stands today. Does that answer your question?
It makes sense to me. I wish we had a way of polling to make sure that people understand that, because this is such an important issue for our district over this entire process, to understand the money that has been spent. And so when we say that we're on budget, that runs counter to how we felt about the project. And you also mentioned that there's been $400,000 in savings, and we just want to understand that a little bit better. But thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Ms. Golden, do you have any comments?
No, but thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Haynes. All right, moving on to item 5.02, financial summary. Mr. Brooks, our Chief Financial Officer.
Good evening, Joint Executive, the Governing Board, and Dr. Triplett.
Good evening.
And Normandy Schools community. You wonderful people during this festive time wanted to bring forth a financial summary year to date. And we'll just kind of progress through the PowerPoint. You know, I'm kind of fired up to see these young men come, Coach Baker's young man, see that, you know, just to see the accolades and all the great things that they accomplished this season. And to understand that most of them are underclassmen, so we can look forward, hopefully, to seeing them re-perform in a great way next year. And it's also great to see the space at the Normandy at the high school, to be a part of that process as Mr. Haynes and Mr. Humphrey and you all have mentioned. We've got a lot of great things going on. One of the things that we were looking at last week are the science labs. We want to make sure and ensure that the product that's turned over to our community is just top shelf, and it's exciting to see that happen. But moving on, looking at the basically our financial summary as of the end of October going into November. And here we go. So the school is a collaborative. Our financial position was solid through the end of October. As of the end of October, we had about $27 million in savings that we banked or saved, which represented basically a 40.64%. I've got our tech person. Okay. Thank you, sir. But we have, again, 40.64% in reserves or funds or savings, basically. When you look at basically our savings in comparison to our annualized budget, expenditures budget, that's pretty solid. About 27.33% of that is in what we call our operating funds. That's how the state measures school districts financially. In our general and in our teachers fund, we have about 27.33% of a fund balance banked through the end of October. Now, the state requires a 3% percentage to be considered sufficient in those reserves, but we had roughly 9 times that banked in reserves as of October 31st, which is a pretty solid position. The state of Missouri looks at a fund reserve at about 15 to 20% being pretty solid. That's the solid place that we want to be. I will say that as school districts, the 520 plus school districts that do business in the state of Missouri, we all work, and again, we're looking at that 15 to 20% balance. But what happens is our fund reserves pretty much statewide drive all the way down until November and December and January. In December and January, we actually get about $18 million of receipts of monies, revenues coming in on tax assessment. So you all in the community, you know that your homes were reassessed this year, and we saw a huge increase in the value of our homes. Well, the good news on that is that we've got tax receipts coming in. And again, this month and next month, we're going to be bringing in about $18+ million in additional funding or monies as a result of our tax assessment revenues coming in. So we have that going on. Also, moving on, looking at our financial picture, again, we basically ended the fiscal year as of June 30th, roughly with like $37 million in savings. We had, through the year-to-date month of October, $10.7 million of revenue banked. We had expenditures of about $20 million paying out to salaries, etc., which again brought our ending fund reserves down to 27.3%, which again is very strong, 27.33%. And so that's where we're at through the end of October. And so, as I mentioned, I've given you our financial position. We've got some positive things going on. Again, we've had expenditures coming in at about $20 million that brought down our overall position because we only had revenues of about $10.7 million. But again, we're still strong. I do want to mention that the salaries, we've had a lot of salaries. We're paying our bills on time. And so we're going to be seeing, we've been paying expenses, which generally tend to be our salaries. We looked at a pie chart to see where our revenues come from. Roughly about 36% of our revenues come from basically local sources from tax receipt funding. Secondly, our second largest revenue provider is our state funding. We've got about 33% comes from the state. And then we've got about 30% that comes from our federal funding in the form of title funding, ESSER funds, monies that we receive from basically the federal government and other grant funds. On the expenditure side, most of our expense goes into paying salaries, compensation to staff. We had about roughly 42% of our income, our budget is assigned, our total budget, to salaries. We've got another portion, about 13%, that goes to benefits. 17% to purchase services. Those are for travel, professional development, etc. About 14% to equipment in the buildings and 9% to supplies. So those are the major components of our budget each year. We do want to mention that in really looking at our staff and wanting to retain quality personnel, we have been giving out stipends. We just gave out roughly a $1,250 stipend to all returning personnel because we want to hold on to our quality staff. So that is something that we really put in the budget that we spent down. Roughly, that cost us about $430,000. Dr. Triplett, that was one of his great ideas, and it's been something very positive for the district that we've done that. I do want to mention that one of the challenges that we have coming up, you've heard of, while our finances have been solid, we're going to face a cliff, basically a financial cliff. We've been receiving what we call ESSER funds over the last few years. We've had ESSER 1, 2, and 3 funds. These are funds that basically have been provided to help us get through the COVID years. Because of COVID, as you know, we all went through that. So many challenges occurred with our student population, the issues that they faced, etc., with our teachers, the challenges that we've incurred. And we have, in order to recover or to get through that period of time, federally, the government provided us with substantial funding during that time. Well, guess what? That goes away. Come September of 2024, those funds go away as we spend down and end that last phase of ESSER 3 funding. And so that's that financial cliff we've got to prepare for in moving forward. So another challenge that we've got to keep on track is our enrollment, our student enrollment, because we receive state funding on our average daily attendance, and so we want to keep those funding numbers up. It's been positive to hear and to see that we've had over 90% on average of our students attending in our schools on the average as you look through our various schools. We want to keep those numbers up. And that's the conclusion of my presentation, and I'd like to entertain questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Any questions for the board? Ms. Pearson?
No question.
Ms. Williams?
The 18 million, is that more than we had last year, or is that just 18 million? That's the increase?
That's going to be more than we had last year. The reason why, it's a great question, the reason why is because as our assessed valuation has gone up in the district, that allows us to tax more. Now, of course, we have a lid. We can only tax because of the John Hancock Amendment, etc. We've got to put a cap on that, but we actually are increasing. We're receiving more revenue this year as a result of our increased assessed valuation.
About $1 million of that is my tax.
I hope not. Ms. Wood, you're just too nice of a woman for that to be the case.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mr.
Well, thank you very much for the report. I think as I listened to that, you were talking about the whole teacher fund. I think one of the things that would be helpful for us as a board is to see some competitive numbers of what other school districts are doing for their teachers. Because in order for us to be competitive and to retain the best and the brightest, we have to figure out a way to be competitive where the other school districts are that are around us. So I think that would be an interesting conversation for us to have, because at the end of the day, everybody's doing the same thing. They're looking for teachers, and we gotta work smarter and not harder.
Valid point, Mr. Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Ms. Taylor?
Yes, the $1,250 stipend, who exactly was that given to? Was it just?
That is a wonderful question. We gave that to all returning personnel. So anyone that was working for the district as of, say, June 30th, 2023, that came back and is currently working for the district at this time, both full and part-time, in fact, we received that stipend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And that was roughly about, 340 people of our staff.
40 people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hodge?
Thank you for your presentation. Again, we're very impressed with the simplicity and the detailed nature of all of your presentations. Two things. Can you help us understand our financial standing in terms of bond rating? Many of us understand credit ratings. So what does our credit look like as a district right now, especially with all the things that we've sort of experienced over the past couple of years? What do we look like? What does our credit score look like for the district?
So actually a pretty good credit score from bond, from our Moody's and other rating organizations, we basically rate it out at an AA minus on our bond ratings. So they're pretty solid, very solid. That's a great place to be. We basically can command really a discounted rate as far as interest on those bonds. Usually when we have the bonds that are associated with these investments, those are 20-year bonds. And so we are able to basically command or find a market, working through a bond underwriter, Stifel Nicholas in this case, and we're able to command a pretty good, a low interest rate. We had on our last bond issue, some of the money, as Mr. Haynes pointed out, is a premium on the sale of bonds. So our bonds, because of our rating, et cetera, were valued so well that we actually had a premium that we were able to receive on that bond sale.
Wonderful, and I think that the district will be happy to hear that. The second thing, we've been talking about this fiscal cliff that is coming up. And while we've talked about being prepared for it, what things are we putting in place right now to prepare, or what recommendations do you have for us to prepare for the fiscal cliff?
Yes, Mr. Hodgman, a great question. We are going to be actually having a board workshop in February that we're scheduling because we want to collectively look at this matter together. One of the things that we're doing, in addition to that, we're basically striving to contain expenditures. So we have reviews, internal controls that we've placed around processes to ensure that we're not overspending, or that we're looking at the spending and we're evaluating that the spending is appropriate. So that's something else that we're trying to do to manage those expenditures. We're trying to maximize, of course, our revenues as well. And so, those are some of the things that we're looking at. But we want to be prepared as we work through the workshop in February, and as we prepare the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. We want to really be wise and shrewd and look at ways that we can really, retain a solid budget and put a solid budget in for the upcoming year, years to come.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Ms. Melton, do you have anything?
No question.
No, thank you.
And really quick, Board Member Hodge, we're also, we're taking a look at some of the providers who provide services for us in the maintenance department, operations department, to make sure we cut down that list of vendors we have, because we have a lot of duplication and triplication of services. So we're paying out more than we should be paying out. So the other thing we did was to cut down those MOUs, because we were paying out on MOUs for the same reason. And so those are some of the things we're doing to control some spending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. All right, moving on to item number 6, item for discussion or action, 6.02, property change management. Do I yield the floor to Mr. Johnson again?
Yes. I think in your packages, you should have a change order for the central hall. This change order.
We can call it a change order.
Okay, well, let's say a design ad. How about that? A design ad.
Modification.
Design modification on the previous facility to include plumbing, toilets, and the respective pieces that need to be done in order for us to complete the continuation of this project. The number is 144, I believe, and it is for your approval.
Okay. I think you have that in your packet, had a chance to review it. If there are any questions from Mr. Johnson, I'll leave the floor for the moment. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order as presented.
No question.
All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order as presented.
So moved.
I give a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say privilege. The ayes have it. Thank you. Yes. All right, moving on to item number 7, items for consent. Those items were presented to you on board docs. There's been some exchanges and questions being answered. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve items presented for consent.
Point of order. Item number 7.4. I felt that there was going to be a presentation or discussion around that, at least a presentation to the community for insight on that item.
So what we could do is we can accept the motion, well, accept the motion to approve, that we can have discussion, and then we can have a question regarding what was it presented in the board packet.
Okay, here's the question. Are we prepared to share oversight, overview of what item 7.404 is? I believe the superintendent was making this proposal, and I think that the community should hear about that. So I don't want to modify the agenda. I guess I just want to request an overview of that proposal.
You're not out of order, so I'll entertain a motion to accept it. And we'll have the discussion. We have Mr. Jossie here, and then we have the superintendent who can answer the question.
Great.
Yep. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the items presented for consent.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now let's have the discussion. Mr. Jossie, if you wouldn't mind coming up, and I'll yield the floor to you, Dr. Triplett, so we can discuss it.
Good evening, board and community. Currently, the Joint Executive Governing Board has a board room at the Campus Support Center. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. However, the space is extremely limited in the number. However, the space is extremely limited in the number of members it can host and space that it can utilize. Additionally, in its current state, the appearance of the boardroom and areas surrounding it are not conducive to proper use for the governing board to conduct its business with the community and the members of the 24-1 footprint. Now, over the past 2 years, the Joint Executive Governing Board has had to use several locations to conduct its business within the community. In doing so, we had to depend on staff from those locations to make sure the rooms were tidy, were situated such that they can conduct the business of the board. This included, but it's not limited to setting up, cleaning, making sure students are out of the building, and other staff at like Beyond Housing are not in that space. In an effort to provide the Joint Executive Governing Board with space to conduct the business of the community and provide other access points for the community members of the 24-1 footprint, the district recommends that the Joint Executive Governing Board approves this proposal by KI Mosaic Associates Inc. in the amount of, I think, $116,675. So $116,675. Long bit. For phase 1 design services, which includes $42,000, and phase 2 architectural and engineering services, which includes $74,675. Now, this approach will allow the district to complete a set of construction documents with specifications to ensure predictable construction budget and to mitigate the risk of change orders. I'm not a fan of change orders. We have to make sure this drawing, this architectural piece is up to par. With that, I'll give the floor to Johnson.
Yeah, so the expansion of the boardroom will be an extension to the work that we're already currently doing with the district. We will work with Mosaic as a collaboration that we've been doing for capacity building. They're a minority business that's currently working with us on the current projects that we're working on today. In this project, we found it to be a good opportunity to allow them to take the lead based off of the history that they've had with us as a company that's been growing. As we try to continue to affect the efforts of growing minority businesses within the region, we're looking towards having Mosaic be the lead on this smaller project, but with our guidance we're gonna allow them to take on the responsibility of working through this process.
So great, so this is a rehab project for the central office, namely to accommodate board meetings at the central office.
Right, meetings like this, will, instead of being held outside of the space, will be able to be held at the district. And we're gonna go through a competitive process as we dig into the details of the scope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yeah, you said, what's a competitive, what is the competitive process that you're talking about?
Yeah, very much so, good, sorry.
In the board docs document, there was an MOU for Mosaic, right?
Right.
An MOU is the same as a contract or not the same as a contract? I thought the contract has some legally binding issues in it that an MOU doesn't necessarily have. I might be wrong about that, but.
No, you're not wrong. The MOU or the proposal basically it spells out the terms for which we will proceed, but they'll come back before the board for us to actually approve the contract. The budget amount is what we're approving right now. And then I think in the proposal it said they're gonna be legal documents presented to the board for us to vote on the approval of the terms of the contract.
So we're not approving or we are approving the amount of money in the MOU? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yes, what we're approving is the amount, the budget amount that was presented in the MOU.
All right, and so this though was not a competitive process. Because the company was working with you guys, we decided that this would be a good project for them?
So let me clarify that. The competitor, we selected KAI and Mosaic through a competitive process when we selected them as construction management team. Because of their design build capacity, we were basically amending the contract so that we, as a way for us to proceed with the design build structure. The competitive process is that once the designs are, the plans and specs are prepared, the actual construction and execution of the boardroom, and actually this will include, I think, the community space on the first floor of the administration building as well. That will be submitted as a competitive bid process.
The actual construction?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion?
Is there a timeline for this project? I'm just.
Fair question. Fair question.
So like we have, just like I've been giving a presentation on all the projects, the ones that have been completed, and the ones that are still standing, under the bus lot, in the future presentations, you will see the boardroom expansion project as a line item for us to discuss as an update that I will give. Once a date has been decided on that project, then it will be presented in the same form that I've been doing with all the other projects.
Okay.
I know what you're thinking, so I think I know what you're thinking. So I want to make sure that it's clear that once we have established a scope, a schedule, well, let's go back, a scope, a budget for the scope, then a schedule for that scope, that will be presented before. There will be no dollars spent until a presentation is given.
Thank you.
Let me go back, one more thing then. Who decided that the $100-and-something thousand is a fair price for what they're going to do?
So it's a budget. It's a budget based off of what we understand the scope to be today. We don't know what the details of that scope is going to be until we dig into it. So just like you may say, I put aside $100 for an item. I'm not spending that $100 until I know what it costs. So that's the budget is our best guess estimate.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
All right.
Took me a while, but I got it.
Yeah, other discussion?
And so my question again, and you know, I'm gonna ask you again. You say that this is just a budget, this is what the cost that you assumed that, so you sat down, you looked at the types of material, everything that you're gonna need.
We haven't got that far.
We haven't done it,
We got that.
you just came out with a.
We're talking about design, just to get the initial stages of programming. Programming is saying, okay, how many people are we sitting in the space? What is the space? What is in the space? Will there be restroom remodeling with this? Will there be carpet? Is it going to be? Once we've determined all those different things, we're saying that budget should be able to get us through that effort. And then the next effort will be, what are we actually doing?
How much does it cost to build it?
How much does it cost to build it?
And once you come up with all those numbers, and you're going to give us a deadline.
Deadline will come, I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
You know where I'm going.
I know exactly.
We've had this conversation before.
Yep, we'll have
So we're gonna attempt to hold you to whatever it is that you're saying that you're going to.
I know there's a whole lot of holding here. The whole thing that I want to make sure that we're clear on is that you will be a part of the process. People support what they help create. And I want to make sure that what didn't happen before was the clarity on where we're going. So once we're clear on where we're going, we'll have a clear understanding of how we're going to get there, and I want to be a part of that process.
Okay, because I've mentioned it several times in several other meetings. For me, that's a concern, because before you attempt to start any project, it's always important to, try to have things laid out. And I know we asked you the hard questions.
No, and I appreciate it. One of the things I'm going to suggest to you is there's some costs that we're going to initiate, which is going to be some destructive research, right? Some things that we didn't do before. We'll probably start opening up things, opening up walls, making sure that before we dig into this project, we've uncovered what we can see. And the things that we can see, we're going to talk about that as well. I'm okay with having the easy and the hard conversations with you.
And sometimes when you're dealing with old structures, then we understand that there's always something that's going to come up. And I just wanted to say to the president, we ask these questions, but when the meetings are over, me and Mr. Hayes, we can laugh. And I told him, I said, I don't mean any harm. And he said, I know Ms. Taylor. So I just want to put that out there.
I expect nothing less. All right, there's a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, the motion is on the floor to accept the items for consent as presented. All in favor? Oh, wait.
Do we have a motion yet?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's right. Discussion. All right. Yes, there was a motion. Did you? Yeah. All right. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same privilege? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, sir.
Trying to keep me out of order. All right. Nah, it's all good. We appreciate you. So moving on to item number 9, Joint Executive Governing Board announcements, board comments. I'll yield the floor to Ms. Belton first. Any comment?
Competition season is coming up. So my next competition is January 11th, so stay tuned for that. Also, another competition, February 22nd.
Thank you, Ms. Belton. Ms. Pearson.
This past Friday, me, Ms. Williams, Mr. Roberts were nominated by Community Impact Network for our work in the community. And what I noticed during that award ceremony was they had nothing but great things to say about the 24-1 community, Normandy, Washington Elementary, Barack Obama, and the leaders that are in the community, especially those principals. So I want us to all be thankful. We may not be where we want to be, but with time we'll get there. We'll be thankful that people outside of our community notice that we're doing great work. It's just sometimes the bad seeds get a hold of us. Winter break is coming up, so enjoy winter break, spend time with your family, rest because it's needed. Mental health is top priority, but keep the kids in routine because kids stay focused with routines. Even though we sometimes want to relax, myself included, those late sleep-in mornings and going to sleep late. And good job to those football scholars. Good job to Coach Baker. Coach Baker not only does football, but he does wrestling. And in my opinion, it takes a certain type of person, not just man, but person, to keep those young men disciplined and on a right path. So good job to them. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Williams.
I'll be brief. I want to go back to some days of yore. We used to do something called a salute to excellence. And every student in the school district who had accomplished anything was invited to a big celebration, okay, in Viking Hall. When I saw those young men up there, I was reminded of that. Ms. Cheney's back there with her daughter. Here's Ms. Belton up here. We've got so many children who need to be celebrated. Could we think about doing that maybe this year, especially with this 100th anniversary thing? It is anniversary, right? Yes, ma'am. So, but let's think about doing that. Just a celebration of excellence. Bring all those children together who have accomplished anything, and let's celebrate.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mr. Humphrey.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I want to thank all of the administrative staff, the superintendent, and everyone else that's in attendance. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. I did have an occasion to come to the chess tournament on December 2nd that was held at the high school. There was approximately 250 chess players there. They were using like the area outside of student commons. They were using the entry foyer. They were using the high school cafeteria. And I did have an opportunity to talk to a number of the parents that were attending with their students. There were parents from Clayton and some other school districts, and they were talking about just the facility that we had. And one of the things I thought was interesting was Mr. Nate and I were having a conversation. This is probably the first time in over 30 years that an African-American school district has been invited to host a chess tournament. And we both thought it was very odd because we've been here the whole time. The only problem has been no one has ever asked. And so we were really excited about the young people because they, at the end, they were literally there for a long day. They started at 7 a.m. in the morning and they went all the way until 7 p.m. that evening. And so there were lots of normally students, there were students of all ages, and it was just a wonderful event. So if you didn't get a chance to see it the next time we have something in the district, take the opportunity to come see the young people in action. Also on that same day, I had an opportunity to go to the Ferguson-Florissant School District for what's called the PLC, which is a professional learning community for school board members. And one of the takeaways from that is that they're asking every school district to begin to start looking at forming a legal advocacy committee, because there are lots of things going on in Jefferson City that we really do need to pay attention to. And so I'm sure that in the coming weeks, President Roberts, you'll probably get a letter from the PLC group asking for us to either form an advocacy group or to have a point person for that. I know that Rittner currently has one, and I know members of the 24-1 actually attend the one in Rittner, but we do in fact need to have our own to pay attention to those issues that may be happening in Jeff City that we need to stay in tune with. The other thing, I would also say thank you to all the football players that came today, all the coaching staff, and everyone that helped to make the success, and especially the discipline that's shown by the young men to do what they have to do. And it's not just about football, because they have to stay academically eligible in the classroom. So my hats are off to them because they've handled their business both on and off the football field. And that's the kind of, as a matter of fact, as they were talking, I had thought about, if you want to change the culture of the high school, all of your sports leaders are the ones that set the tone. So we got to start getting the word out to our fellow high school classmates. This is all about changing the tone. We're all about academics, and we want to become a fight-free high school. The last thing I would say is thank you to the administration for the gifts that we got when we got here tonight. There was a bag with a gift in it. And it looks like it's gonna be something very useful. I'll find out when I get home tonight, because I'm gonna break it open. I'm not waiting till Christmas time. Well, once again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you. I'd just like to say, I just want to give kudos to the Joint Executive Governing Board, and I just appreciate how we have come together over these last, 8, 9 months, how we are working together, we collaborate, the decisions that we make those jointly because we are a joint governing board. And we're hoping that the decisions that we make, the things that are happening in the Norman School Collaborative, we're hoping that they are changing not only the community, changing the people, changing the atmospheres, changing the attitudes, the personalities, because that's what we want. We look at our children, and I was listening as they were talking about the young men playing football. Not only are they doing something that's going to put Normandy, in the limelight, but when they were asked the question, what is it that you want to do? They didn't say, I wanted to be a football player. They all said there was something different that they wanted to do. And so for me, it makes me feel good because when I ran for the school board, one of my points that I made is that I would look at the young men and the young women in the community that were not going to school, Mr. Brooks, and how you would see them walking down the street, and it often made me wonder, why are they not in school? And so we want our children to know you can be whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be, and don't just go to school. We want them to know it's okay for you to be in high school and to be a good football player. But what is it that you want to do after that? Because the majority of football players, I think they only play to maybe age of 30, 35. Come on, you all football players and football scholars. And if something happens in that, while they're in that field, what is it that they have to fall back on to? And so I'm so proud of them because they all said, I desire to go to college, and they have something that they desire to do. And so that's what we want. We want nothing but the best for our children. And so thank you to the superintendent, to the staff, the administrators, to each of you that work with our children every day. It's very important that we encourage them and to let them know you can be whatever you want to be. Nothing can hold you down. We don't want them to look at the videos and think you can be a rapper and you can be singing and the things that are going on. We don't want our young ladies thinking that they have to be in the background doing that, but we want them to know you can succeed in this life. And the only way that you're going to do that is by coming to school, getting an education, and doing the very best that you can. And I just say thank you all to each of you all. Thank you all for the work that you do for the Norman School Collaborative.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for your comments, Mr. Howard.
There's really nothing else that needs to be said. I just want to highlight a couple of things that are happening here at the table. First, Ms. Belton was very humble and her remarks. I think it should be pointed out that she is a competitive chef, and she is what she has shared with us is her next 2 competitions. And so we are very proud that she is wearing her green and red to these competitions and representing us so well. I echo all the things that have been said. It is an honor to serve this district. There's so many people at this table that even Ms. Valerie Pack, Reverend Dr. Valerie Pack, who also sits on this board, is here with us tonight. She has sacrificed her seat and her microphone so that Ms. Belton could be heard here at this table, and I'd like to just recognize her for that. I will conclude my remarks with a reference that I do believe that Ms. Violet Taylor was making about our football team. They do carry the banner, and I love the fact that we pointed out it's not just about football, but it's about excellence. Aristotle was credited with this quote, but I think it actually comes from someone else. He says that we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. So we are practicing habits of excellence here in our district, and I couldn't be more honored to be on this journey with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge, and just kind of dovetailing, Ms. Patton, you're not going to escape this. We're going to yield the floor to you right now to make comments. So would you mind getting her the microphone so she will grace us with her comments as well? Thank you, Ms. Patton.
Good evening, and forgive my tardiness, but I had another board meeting that backed up on this. So I'm glad to be a resident of the Normandy School District. I am very happy on the progress that we are making. We still have much work to be done. Thank you to my fellow joint board members. Thank you to the faculty, staff. But once again, as I always would say, it's really all about the students. So we're not pouring into the students. We are not doing what we have been called to do. So, happy holidays, ho, ho, ho. I hope everybody is looking forward to having a blessed and safe and restful holiday period. But I also would like to echo the point that don't let the kids stay up too late. Don't let them eat a lot of stuff they wouldn't eat if they were coming to school every day. Make sure that you are reviewing and doing something with them around academics while they're off, no matter how much they are jumping up and down and screaming about it. Because routine at this point, this formative point in their lives is important. When you get to be young like me, yeah, you can stay up late, but it also pays quite a price. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity to have the privilege to serve.
Thank you, Ms. Patton. I have just a couple of comments. One, I just want to remind everyone that the enrollment for declaration of candidacy for the 3 positions we have coming up for the Joint Executive Governing Board it's open now. It ends on the 26th. The elections will take place on April 2nd. So if there is anyone that you know of that you think highly enough to encourage them to declare candidacy and run, please do so. We need talented people that are within this district, that care about this community, care about this district. We need them running and serving on this board, just like our other elected board members. And as you know, in April, we will have a fully elected board. So, as I said before, I've never been more excited to talk my way out of a job. But please encourage people to run. We need some talented folks and some committed folks. The other thing is that I've had a couple conversations in passing over the last several weeks, but in the last couple of days, some conversations that really resonated with me from talking to our administrators, our teachers, staff. And I just want to say, do not be afraid to speak of anything that's going to improve our district. That is within individuals, that is with a process, a procedure. Do not be afraid of that. It's like hearing a chalkboard being scratched. When I hear someone say that they have an issue of concern, but are afraid of repercussions. That should not exist in our community. That should not exist in our school district. And you have dedicated board members that are accessible and will operate within our policies and our procedures to ensure that that kind of behavior does not exist here. We chose the superintendent based on his commitment that that type of attitude and behavior will not be tolerated. So if you have an issue or concern, out of respect, because we got to respect each other, and that's a given, please speak up, please make your voice heard, because we cannot improve unless you do that. Every minute counts that we're serving here, and we appreciate you all, but we have plenty of opportunity for growth, and we have to use that. So show leadership where you are, Do not be afraid, be courageous, be bold, and expect results. But do not expect retaliation or anything negative because you spoke up. Thank you. So with that, I'll yield the floor to Dr. Michael Dana Triplett for his comments.
Don't entertain him.
So let me.
Let me first thank, I want to thank the Joint Executive Governing Board. When I first started, I was like, "Ooh, Lord, take the wheel." They were in the weeds with me, and I didn't need them to be in the weeds with me. But since the board has matured in terms of its confidence in me to do this work, and so now they're in a helicopter, except Ron, I'm just kidding. So thank you, Joint Executive Governing Board, for having confidence in me and understanding that I truly mean the district well when I serve it. I want to give a special thanks to, I want to ask them to stand, Ms. Rose Blasingame and her daughter, Ms. Robin Rottmeyer. Now, I'm putting them on the spot, and the reason I want to give them a special thanks, I don't believe they missed one board meeting this year. And I see, like you want to know, I see, but this is what it takes. This is where she gets off work and she comes straight here. This is what it takes. This is the kind of commitment it takes from families to team up with the district for our kids. This is what it takes, and I truly appreciate that. I want to also congratulate the football team. Thank you guys so much. I also want to thank the football team for some hard work, and Ms. Violet Taylor, I do understand football very well. Very well. I want to congratulate newly doctorates, Dr. Pamela Hollins and Dr. DeAndre Clare. Welcome to this 0.0003% of African American doctoral people. Thank you. I want to thank the entire Normandy Schools Collaborative staff. This work, and with me behind pushing them, is not for the faint of heart. I will push you to the brink of collapse, but that's what coaches do. Coaches don't go out and recruit the best talent. They make a team of the talent that they have. That's what leaders do. So I want to make sure I give thanks to them, and special thanks to my SLT for just being dedicated and making sure this work gets done. Today I was in the middle school. We've had some issues in the middle school.
Yes.
Some issues. Today I was at the middle school, and I had some very, very candid conversations during I had 2 assemblies with all the students, with staff present. And if you know me, I don't hold back. That said, we have work to do. But what I was appreciative of is that it could be done, because those students sat, they listened, and they were quiet. This cafeteria was full both times, and you get pins drop while I was talking. That means they're starving for something. Structure, leadership, whatever that something is. And teachers, I got tons of emails from teachers saying they appreciate it. They are starving for the same thing. And I appreciate the SLT, because I sent them an email at almost 8 o'clock saying, meet me at 8:15, and they were here. Sorry, but that's commitment. That's how we get the work done. I appreciate you, Jocelyn, for being truly transparent in this process. I appreciate Jocelyn because he and I have conversations around the work to be done. He knows that I absolutely despise change orders. So we're going to make sure Ms. Violet Taylor and Ms. Teresa Pearson that we get that work done, and we are very transparent, and we use X-ray lenses forecast some of the issues we could come across so that we can give some correct numbers to this work at correct time frame. I will try to take all the credit for these returning stipends, if you will. But it was the IBB. That committee consisted of Northern Schools Collaborative people and the NNEA. We got together and decided that this was best for the staff of the district. So I want to say kudos to all of those who served on the IBB committee, so please give them a hand. The best medicine in the world is laughter. It costs nothing. And somehow we get in this very serious work and we forget to laugh and have fun. That's what makes the work difficult, because we take it too serious. When you're supporting others, you should have no problem, have fun supporting people. When you go home this Christmas break, do not pick up that phone and call me about work. Call me and tell me how much fun you're having. I do want to hear from Willie Robb and Alphonse Dixon, because those two will be, and Tripp, because those three will be doing some roundabouts in the district to make sure our buildings are secured, safe, and we don't have plumbing issues and those kinds of things that happen during the winter. Those are the only things I want to hear about business. If you call me about business, I'm hanging up on you. Okay? So I want you to enjoy yourself this holiday season, enjoy your family, have fun, enjoy your loved ones. More importantly, do not forget to laugh. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, with that, we have some items to recess to executive session. With that, I'll entertain a motion to move to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn to exec session. Ms. Rigby, can you roll call us out?
Mr. Alexander Belton. Ms. Pearson.
Here.
Ms. Williams. Ms. Patton.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
And Mr. Roberts.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.